the opportunities that we learned about after being associated with AARP gave us a lot of chances to kind of stay involved and keep our mental directions focused on social events and current issues. And aside from the benefits and all of the things that come with a membership, we were given an opportunity to have a voice in some of our contemporary issues and through their advocacy work.
There's just a whole spectrum of things that AARP has gotten involved in from the national level and at the state level, and it's just a very credible organization for being the voice of older South Dakotans and a voice in Congress and in the state legislature and for the people at large.
We can really rely, I think, on what we get from AARP, that it's factual, and so I just think that it's a wonderful resource for any education on any of the issues that we have.
We're back talking today about AARP South Dakota and the work we do right here all across the state, helping people 50 and older live their best lives, including local federal advocacy work, education, and community service. I'm joined now by Associate State Director Sam Wilson and National Policy Council member and longtime AARP volunteer in South Dakota, Dennis Eisnach, to talk about AARP's work on utilities. Now, Sam, utilities may not seem like a usual topic that AARP might be involved in, yet you are. Talk a little bit about why AARP is involved in utilities.
Well, for the past 20 years, AARP has been one of the few national organizations that's been working at both the federal and state level to address rate hikes and reliability standards for utilities customers. So AARP has a long history of actually working on these issues. In fact, in 2010 alone, AARP members fought unfair rate increases across the country that saved consumers roughly $3 billion alone. So our history and our scope of work on utilities issues is very strong, and we're continuing that tradition here in South Dakota by starting our own utilities campaign in 2011.
And utilities work is some of the things that the National Policy Council for AARP gets their hands in a little bit, and we're fortunate enough in South Dakota to have a member of the National Policy Council as one of our volunteers. Talk just a little bit about the National Policy Council and what it does.
Well, thank you, Kathy, for giving me that opportunity. I have been a volunteer for AARP in South Dakota for several years on the Executive Council and actually as acting president for a while. Then I took a chance and made an application to be on the National Policy Council for AARP. And this is a 25-person board that really represents the diversity of the United States to develop policy for AARP. And it's selected from people all across the country from all walks of life. And it is a application process that's very lengthy and an interview process in Washington, D.C. To get on the National Policy Council. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do that, and I've been on that going on 2 years, which has been a very educational process for me. But what the National Policy Council does is to actually develop policy that AARP will follow, people like Sam who are doing advocacy work. And this policy provides a guideline for them to follow, whether it's at the federal level or the local level. And we cover all such things as you mentioned utilities, but healthcare and all economic issues and financing of housing markets and anything that might affect the 50-plus people that we represent. And we go over the policies every year. We solicit input from our members through a variety of ways, through surveys, through emails, through telephone calls, and through personal contact at meetings. So we really try to find out what's on people's minds who are members of AARP.
So what kinds of things are you hearing about utilities specifically and the work that AARP does?
Well, Sam mentions some of the things, and so did you in the introduction. Utilities issues are a basic necessity of life for most people. And they don't have a choice whether or not you're going to heat your house or cool your house. That's a bill that comes due. And very often, the companies that provide electricity are a regulated utility, and very often, especially in South Dakota, the consumer really does not have a voice. It is up to the commission itself, and if nobody is there representing the consumer, the only one they're hearing from are the utility companies.
So Sam, what is AARP doing in the realm of utilities then in South Dakota now?
Really what we're trying to do this year is develop the capacity to interject ourselves into some of those rate cases that come before the South Dakota Public Utilities Commission, and to review some of the reliability standards that govern the way electricity and natural gas and all other utilities are transmitted to the consumer in their home. And so while we develop that capacity, we're really trying to get people interested in observing the process that the Public Utilities Commission goes through, and be involved in AARP's campaign to be educated on how and why they should be involved in our utilities work.
And what are some of the ways that you're doing that?
You know, we've been doing listening tour sessions around the state to really get a grasp of what consumers really feel about when it comes to utilities issues. One of the things we've heard loud and clear is that consumers don't feel they have any control or any voice over how utility rates are determined in the state. And I think that's a message that we hear regardless of whether you're in Rapid City or Aberdeen or Sioux Falls. And so we're really holding those listening tour events to make sure that we understand where the consumer is at, what their interest levels are in the issue, and what specific issues they want us to be working on.
And if somebody wants to get involved in those efforts, Sam, how do they do that?
Well, we'd absolutely love to have them involved, and we can have them provide their input either on our webpage at www.aarp.org/SD. You can call us at 1-866-542-8172, or you can email us at sdaarp@aarp.org and let us know that you're interested in utilities issues and you'd like to be involved in our campaign.
When I think about what has AARP done the most for me, it would have to be in the volunteering. It gives us ideas of where we can volunteer, and in our own community I think we've made a big difference. And I think that's true of our retired teachers, for instance, throughout the state, again, a branch of AARP. But we get involved in so many community activities.
It's basically been an organization that enabled and empowered local people to come together to do some good. Many of our projects are focused on the youth. It's not all about the aging or the elderly or the senior citizen, but many of our projects have been involved with community parks, with the services, food delivery for the needy, and a number of things that are out there. AARP has, quite frankly, been able to come into communities through our work and help locals do what it is that they're doing and enhance their activities. And I feel particularly proud to be a part of an organization that comes in and helps somebody just get over that final hump to get done what they want to do in their community.